Very good morning, this is Pena Wild the Black Pen. I promised a video last night and I thought let me just do it now in the morning before I actually forget, and I hope I can articulate what was bugging me last night. So I'm just gonna read the post that I uploaded last night regarding what I want to make this video about. I'll make a video tomorrow morning, hopefully. No. But I'm trying to get my head around parents who struggle to attain greatness so that their kids won't struggle. Then when their kids show them what a life of no struggle looks like, they get upset and remind them, do you know how hard I struggled for you? So number one, must I live better because you struggled? Or must I struggle like you so that I can appreciate what I have? How can you expect a child who has been raised on flights, aircon cars, and restaurants to appreciate things like waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning to fetch water or firewood? How? What do you expect them to strive for when they've grown up in a mansion? They've driven your cars, your Porsches, and enjoyed holidays with you as a parent to foreign lands. What exactly must they strive for? And how do you expect them to be motivated and driven growing up in comfort? You, as the parent, knew that school was your way out. You knew that you had to get that scholarship. You knew you had to gym hard. You had no fallback option, no trust fund, no family business. Do you even know what it feels like to attend 12 years of school, knowing you have a full-fridged, uncapped and unchecked Wi-Fi, flights waiting for you, fresh clothes, pocket money, and well-off rich parents? Do you know what that does to your mind? Struggle and poverty isn't cool, but for most of us, myself included, it was our number one motivator. And we didn't and we don't want our kids to struggle like we did. But in the absence of struggle, what motivation must your kids use? And since you didn't want them to struggle, what exactly do you expect them to do? And then I put in brackets, I'm struggling to articulate myself, but I'll try again in the morning, which is basically what I'm doing now. In closing, rich kids take drugs, get depressed, and commit suicide. And we have no cooking clue the mental battles they fight daily searching for meaning and validation. I was having a conversation last night with my mother. My mother's taught at a few private schools since I moved up to Johannesburg, and her mind has been blown. She thought she knew what private school kids was. She wished for private school for us growing up. I was blessed and lucky growing up that I had a lot of friends that were in private school. It got worse when I got to university. So I got to meet these kids that I guess my mom wanted me to turn out like. And I got to comfortably contrast private school, public school, single-sex co-ed school, to be able to see what I think is best, if there's a difference, etc., etc. But for my mom, this was the first time she got to fully interact with private school kids and their parents, and her mind has been blown because it's killed every idea that she had in her head about or around what private school kids are. She's told us numerous times that she didn't know that there were dumb kids in private school. She didn't know that there were dizzy parents, that you can find rich parents that are still clumsy in terms of other shit. They just happen to be rich. They just happen to be maybe good at business. But it doesn't mean they're academically astute. It doesn't mean they know how to raise kids, etc., etc., etc. So it's been quite educational for her. We were speaking around a family that I know, and my opening line and my theme to the discussion was, the whole point of life is to stay busy until you die. You're born, you die, and somewhere in the middle, you're meant to find some sense of meaning and keep yourself busy with meaningful work until you die. And I had this epiphany in 2018 or 2017 where I used to believe You watch motivational videos and you listen to great speakers and they talk about the purpose of life, the meaning of life. Why are we here? Existential questions. And for a lot of people, it's my purpose in life is to give back. It's to help others. My purpose in life is to find happiness. My purpose in life is to find love. My purpose in life is to become rich. I want to become so rich. My purpose in life is to empower my entire family. I have been chosen to uplift my whole family, Or my purpose in life is to be the person that moves humanity to the next level, taking them to Mars, or moving my black family to Canada, or to New Zealand, or to China. That is my purpose. My purpose in life is to write books and educate people. My purpose in life is to make great music that moves people and inspires them and can be used in movies and in real life. When people fall in love, when they are scared, they will listen to and play my music. So people have convinced themselves of all these reasons as maybe their purpose in life. And I had this epiphany in 2017, 2018, where for myself, I realized that the purpose of life is to live. It's just to live. It's just to stay alive and stay busy living until you die. It is great to do something that you deem inside yourself is impactful, and it's great, and it changes the world. It's great. At the end of the day, we're all going to die. At the end of the world, some of the stuff that you think is meaningful, adds value, for some people means nothing. I tell you today about Tchaikovsky, Mozart, Beethoven, Leonardo da Vinci, and I speak about Monet. A lot of people don't know who the fuck those people are, and frankly, they don't give a fuck. They don't. And you may think that maybe some of their work, their musical work, their art, has maybe inspired them even in popular culture. But for some people, it hasn't. There are people that still wake up in rural mountains. They go and fetch water, they boil it. They go and fetch firewood to make fire. They look after the cattle. They grow up, they live, they die. And for some of them, their purpose was maybe to just grow their parents' herd. Their purpose may be, I want to be the best fighter in my village. So they were not influenced by Mozart or Leonardo da Vinci or Michelangelo. They weren't. And it doesn't matter. So what might for you feel like, oh, hallelujah, this is the core of life. For some, it means nothing. There are kids in deep Asia that have never heard of Michael Jackson. Mind-blowing. But they haven't. You meet people today when you tell them about Lil Wayne. White kids will be like, who's that? But in their lives, Bos van Blerk is God. In their lives, Steve Hofmeyer is the return of Jesus. But they don't know Drake. And frankly, they don't care. This guy doesn't influence them. So the purpose of life is to live. So in speaking about private school kids and rich kids, one of the things I was addressing with my mom was, I used to wonder a lot, if you're rich, when you're a multimillionaire and you're a billionaire, why do you still send your kids to school? Why do you push for them to study hard and get high marks? What motivates your kids? I'm a billionaire. I've got a great share portfolio. I've got my own businesses that give me passive income every month. I've got 100 employees that work tirelessly for myself and obviously to make me rich and keep me rich. But why must my child go to school? And you speak to a child, you tell them you must work hard, you must study, you must get good marks. And you get a relatively intelligent child that turns back and looks at you and says, why? When I go to school and I speak to all these other kids in my class and in other classes, I ask them, guys, why are you guys at school? And they say, no, our parents say we need school because one day we're going to need to get a job or start a business. And school is a stepping stone to that job, to that business. And it's like, I don't need that, Dad. I've got you. You're rich. You've got a business. I don't need to go to school. What should be happening, ideally, is from birth, you need to be grooming me to run the family business, to understand how to deal with investments, how to deal with employees and clients and other stakeholders. I don't know why I'm at school. I don't know why I need to be studying. It's a waste of my fucking time. You're stressing me about getting 90% for what? I don't need a scholarship. We're rich. No, but you need to strive for something in life. Strive for what? We have cars at home. What car must I strive for when my dad has a Mercedes and a Ferrari and a Porsche and every other car that I want? We have Buckies at home. We have trucks. Some of our employees have Unos and Toyota Tazas, so I can drive those as a start. So what am I striving for? And your dad says, do you know how hard I worked for your comfort? Do you know how hard I worked to put you in this great school that you're in today? St. Stidion's, St. John's, Hilton College. I think Hilton's school fees is sitting at 250,000 Rand a year. Sounds like a great deal of money. 250,000 Rand a year, 25,000 Rand a month over 10 months. That's a car. That's not even a flat. 250,000 is not a mind-blowing amount of money. It's education. And more than education, it's buying into a network. So some parents obviously send their kids to Michael House, to Hilton, because they want their kids to rub shoulders with kids of ministers and business people, not just locally, but internationally as well. So that after your child leaves, their friends, their worst case scenario, are rich kids that can hire them, do business with them, whatever. You know. Do you know how hard I struggle to get you in here? And the child says, I don't know. I didn't grow up like you. I grew up eating cornflakes and Cocoa Pops and Rice Krispies. You tell me these stories about waking up in the morning and fetching firewood and fetching water, and you tell me about walking kilometers to go to school, and even in the depth of winter, barefoot. You tell me about having to cook over open fire every night, every morning. You tell me how education was the key to freedom and success in your world. I don't know it. I've never experienced it. You telling me is no different to me watching The Avengers and watching Captain America and Iron Man blast villains. It's a nice story. I don't know it. I've never lived it. I don't have to wake up at those ungodly hours. I don't have to tend to cattle and sheep and chickens. I don't have to slaughter shit. We've got butcheries. I go to Woolies and I buy the food pre-packed, organic, grain-fed. So I don't know. You know. You're driven. You are motivated. You are a hero, Dad. You went from dirt to wealth in one lifetime. And you got to see your kids and you got to tell them. But that's your story, it's not mine. I'm proud of you. I'm fucking psyched. You are a fucking great dad. But that's not my reality. I'm rich. Or rather, I come from a rich family. I'm thinking in my head of where I'm going on holiday in June and December. Where are we going, Dad? Are we going to Switzerland? Are we going to Italy? Are we going to Canada? Are we going to Brazil? Where are we going? What new land is your wealth taking us to? If you can't, I'll speak to one of my friends at school. I'm sure their parents don't mind paying for my flights to China or India, Dubai. That's my reality. That's my world. You take me to school in a German car. Actually, it's not you, it's our drivers. They take me to school in German cars. They drop me off. And on this nice iPhone you got me, I call them up after school or after sports to come fetch me again. But that's not my reality. And the father gets upset, says, I want you to learn to appreciate and be grateful for what you have. And I want you to be driven and motivated to do more than I have for the family. And the child says, I will never be able to be driven like you have because I didn't grow up in the struggle. You did. I watch some motivational videos every now and then. I watch motivation the same way some people eat. You feed your body. Some of us feed our minds. We feed our souls. And one of the people was talking about struggle is a privilege. You're privileged to struggle because you have this fire, this motivation that someone else doesn't have. The next kid is not driven as much as you're driven because if they fail at this thing, they go home to comfort. If you fail, you go home to misery and poverty. So you can't fail. You don't have a plan B. It has to fucking work now. So you're privileged. They don't have that. They haven't burnt their ships and said, we either fight and win or fight and die. There is no home. There is no way back. Waiting beyond that beach, immortality. Take it. It's yours. They don't have that. So they're privileged to be poor, to struggle, and that becomes their driving factor. And to what I was speaking about earlier, it becomes your purpose. Because we are poor, my purpose is to get us to be rich. Now, when you are rich and you ask your child, what is your purpose in life? Your child can't say to get us rich. We're rich already. And in closing in my post, what I was saying is that rich kids take drugs, get depressed, commit suicide. There are kids in Silicon Valley in America. Silicon Valley is where all the big tech companies are based, whose parents are multimillionaires, some are billionaires, dollars. And a lot of those kids are suffering from depression. A lot of them are on recreational drugs. Some commit suicide, sadly, And a lot of people don't understand what's happening. Why are these kids so miserable? Their parents are rich. They can have anything they want in the world. And that's part of the problem, right? Because it's difficult to tame the mind, and your mind is constantly searching for validation and for meaning. You find comfort, solace in knowing I am a black man. I am a Zulu man. I am from KZN. I come from poverty. And those become your driving and guiding factors. Take away the fact that you're Zulu, what are you then? No, I'm not sure, you're lost. Take away that you're a black man. So when black people talk about the black struggle, Black Lives Matter, we need to uplift the black mind by black. You feel like, oh yeah. I think I want to join this movement. If you're a woman, you want to fight gender-based violence. You're like, yeah, we need to uplift women. I want to be a feminist. Women have been oppressed for so long. In the absence of all of that, what is the meaning in your life? You live, you die, there's noise in between. You're now a rich woman. What are you striving for? When I was at Rhodes University in my third, I think, year, a very interesting case happened. A very good friend of mine, Maeve, unfortunately got to witness the hanging of a white boy, hung himself, killed himself. And he had the displeasure of having to tell his parents, this guy, when the parents arrived at the school, they wanted to meet the boy that reported. And he had to tell the parents what he'd seen. They found a suicide note and they read it in different places, A lot of the residences got together for a moment of silence and whatever. And the story came out of this letter that this boy had written, and it will be one of the moments and experiences that I'll never forget for the rest of my life. This white boy came from a well-off family. His parents were relatively rich. He had a colorful school career. He was brilliant at academics. He was brilliant at sports. Good-looking white boy. Apparently, I don't remember, but I'd played rugby with him when he arrived. Apparently, girls thought he was the shit. Drank, partied with his mates. He was happy. And he wrote this letter and he addressed it to his parents. And he told his parents, don't be sad. I've decided to take my life. I sat at some point and I realized what was coming in my life. Going to graduate going to have a great university career, going to have a great job, maybe have a nice business, going to meet a great girl, going to get married, I'm going to have kids, I'm going to raise my kids, they're going to become great, I'm going to become a nice old man with grandchildren, and then I'm going to die. I've seen my life, and it's great. And you guys of my parents have done a great job. I'm very thankful. But I don't want it. I've seen what lies ahead and I'm not interested. So I'd like to end my life now. I think I've experienced enough. I think I kind of see what's coming up ahead and I've had enough of this life. Thank you very much. So I'm just going to exit. As a parent, where do you even start? Your child is validating, confirming, verifying that you did a good job. But they've killed themselves. What went wrong? Did something go wrong? We don't know. A lot of us are constantly fighting psychological battles every day. Some are minor, some are major. We went to visit my aunt this week who works as a matron or a nurse at Sterfontein Mental Hospital. I was asking some interesting questions around her patients, her work there. Sterfontein is for people with extreme mental illness, extreme. They're a danger to society or to themselves. She told us about one of the patients who's just recently taken out his eyes. Fuck me, I'm not laughing. The guy has he took out his eyes. They were bugging him. He used to scratch them and he eventually got the courage to take them out. He has no eyes now. We're fighting mental battles. Some of our battles are minor, but they measure in our own lives. Because if you beat your mind, you could become an international musician. You could become the president of South Africa. You could become the next Jesus Christ. You could start a church or a movement if you can beat your mind. But our minds generally beat us. That's why we're scared. That's why other people can scare us. That's why we are confined to certain geographical locations. That's why we can't become rich. That's why we chase money. Money is a psychological concept that we have accepted. And our minds beat us in our lives and we submit to them to become good law-abiding citizens in Johannesburg, South Africa, that follow the laws and that vote ANC. Because our mind wins. And our mind is obviously whatever we've been fed by the schooling system, by our parents, by society, that we feel is fact. And we find ourselves grappling with these things every day, and we generally lose. You may have a great idea to become a billionaire, but because of your conditioning, because of what you've learned, because of your fear to move to China and set up an export business and set up a factory and export to the United States and build your company from making $1 million to $10 million to $100 million every year, and then coming back to South Africa and building schools and building churches and informing the curriculum and having workers and shipping some of them overseas to work for you and doing great research, etc. You're scared to do that. Your mind cannot comprehend the reality of that happening. And for some people, when you lose those psychological battles, the loss, the failure, the pain is too much to bear. What do you expect rich kids, comfortable kids to do to drive them in the absence of comfort and privilege and wealth? Do you expect them to run really fast? Do you expect them to study really hard? Do you expect them to go the extra mile? They've seen the world. You've shown them the world. They've seen how other people struggle. They've seen that they're rich. What must drive and propel them? Your words, your story. I struggle so hard. So your child must be like, oh my gosh, dad struggles so hard. That's his fucking life. It's not yours. And some of us are failing. Got so many friends that are rich kids, trust fund babies. that when they got to varsity, they already had flats waiting for them paid off. They had cars. I speak to a lot of them, and some of them struggle with meaning. They end up enjoying the little things in life. Sports. They invest their all into like rugby because that keeps them going. Or they invest their all into doing some kind of work that feels like it makes a difference. Or they give their all into their love life. Some of them, obviously, when their relationships fail, they kill themselves because that becomes the only thing they have that feels like something real, because everything else at home is kind of taken care of. Yeah, this video's been too long, man, and I'm probably still struggling to articulate what's happening out there. A lot of us are poor and black, so we find comfort and relatability with each other. Because of that, we're all black, we're all struggling, so we understand each other's dilemma. Yeah, I got you, dog, I feel you. Yeah, I understand what's happening, homie. But there's a lot of other kids that are dealing with other psychological issues, and some of them come from privilege. They are white kids privileged white kids, and they don't really know how to navigate around South Africa when everywhere they turn, they are the animal. The animal. They are the enemy. They are the devil. I'm sorry I was born white. I'm sorry my ancestors did bad things to your ancestors. That was their reality. Same as you and your dad and his reality. But now, what must I do? Must I give away the wealth that I inherited? What about you, rich black kid? Your father, grandfather worked hard. You are inheriting millions. I'm a white kid. We don't have millions at home, but we're definitely privileged. We're definitely privileged. I won't deny that. But you guys are rich at home. So when they talk about giving back the land we don't have land at home. We have a house like you guys. I've heard you guys, your homes are paid off. My parents are paying off our bond. So must I be attacked? Must our shit be taken? Must you stay rich because you're black, you're dark? Must you stay rich and we're the fuck-ups? And for some white kids, that ends up becoming what drives them to becoming racist. Because everywhere they go, they're just constantly being attacked. Every time they try to do right, it's because you feel guilty. White guilt is, oh man, I'm just trying to do something in the world like you. I'm trying to find purpose like you are. I also want people to like me. Why do they only like you? I work. My hands get dirty. When we go to rugby practice, I also fucking run steps and heels like you. I have to do push-ups. I have to be in the game like you. I have to write the exam like you do. I have to fucking read this book. I wasn't born with a chip in my head because I'm a white kid. That just happens to make school easy for me. Why am I taking so much shit from you? Because I'm white. And the rich black kid is like, yeah, I feel you, dog. I feel you, homie. Everywhere I go, I feel weird. When I go visit my grandparents, the kids look at me weird because I can't speak isiZulu. I have to try and fit in there. But then I also have to try and fit into this white world where some white people just won't recognize me because I'm black. And I'm like, guys, I'm as rich as you guys. We live in a bigger house than you guys do. So like, I qualify. Oh, fuck, but I'm black. I'm gonna end this video. I'll try and speak about it a bit later. I hope there are certain things that you've taken out of this video that will help you in your own life somehow. I want you guys to I'm a deep thinker. I realized there's a term like that a few weeks ago. So I think about a lot of things on a deeper level than the average person. I want some of you guys to engage with me. I want us to open up and discuss some of these concepts. And where there are problems, I want us to try and find solutions together and build a better world. Because my purpose in life is to build a better world. This morning while I was brushing my teeth, I was thinking about the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And obviously Mark Zuckerberg and his wife, what's his wife's name? Priscilla. I think it's Priscilla. Shit, I think it's Priscilla. Mark and Priscilla Chan. Mark Zuckerberg and Priscilla Chan. And their foundation. And they are taking their billions and their influence and they're trying to make the world a better place. And they want to come up with vaccines and mosquito nets, and they want to teach people how to build for themselves. And while I was brushing my teeth, I thought to myself, you need a billionaire or an influential person who's going to say, I want to make the world a better place. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay away from certain places to make them better. To make the world a better place, there are certain places where we must not go and put up technological infrastructure if we want that place to get better. There are certain places where we have to go and remove technological infrastructure. Let me just say something very stupid quickly. If we were to be hit by bombs, World War III, whatever, and our buildings were collapsed, and our roads were ripped open, and we didn't have pipes for water anymore, and our schools were collapsed, and we didn't have clothing anymore. Going back to what I said earlier, if all those things were to disappear, we would then have the privilege of being able to be the people to build the roads and build the schools and build the buildings and make the clothing. And that would give us such a sense of fulfillment that, oh my gosh, we found a country in ruins and we were the people that built it up. For some people, you almost have to take things away for them to feel a sense of need and purpose. For some spaces, you need to keep technology away for that place to thrive. Some people need to plant crops and raise livestock to have a good life, because if you give them cell phones, computers, Wi-Fi, books, cars, airplanes, you will begin destroying them. By civilizing and giving them progression and technological advancement, you will begin destroying them. Every time you put up a building, you are destroying the environment. Every time you add electricity wires, you are ensuring that more coal will be depleted, more oil will be used, more pollution will be in the air, because you are trying to advance the world. I'm losing my fucking mind. Speak to you guys later. Fuck. I love you. And I believe in you. And I want you guys to connect with me. Have a great day.